If you looked hard, you could have probably seen my forehead in there. And of course, the birds have all of the opinions about me actually trying to go live. This is par for the course, though. I do apologize. I know it's quite a bit later than normal, but I got sidetracked and this happened. So, I mean, I think it's a fair excuse. So I have cookies today. Now the question is, who do we color next in this? Because last time we did the bunnies. And I do still absolutely adore the bunnies. I think they're hilarious. Let's see. There's a few of them that have really caught my eye that I hadn't decided between. I think they could have done better with this one if they'd have shown the flowers behind him just wilting a bit. I think this one is where we're going to go today. Little otter blowing bubbles. And pardon me as I throw pencils all over the floor. Let's see, what are we starting with? We're most certainly not starting with a black pencil. Let's see. That's might be too light, but I think this is where we're going to start. We'll do his underbelly this color, and this part of his mouth, and then we'll do this, and his little feet a little bit darker. Because why not? Hello, how are we doing today? How's everybody doing this afternoon? Or whatever time it happens to be for you. I do apologize. I'm normally on closer to 3 to 3:30, but I got sidetracked making cookies, and I think that is a perfectly good excuse. I think everybody needs cookies, especially when they're snowed in and it's 17 degrees outside. I'm not 100% certain what that translates to in Celsius, but it is 17 Fahrenheit. All I know is it is cold, and I am not a fan of the cold. So, what better ways to kind of shake it off a little bit than baking cookies and then coloring a farting otter. And if you missed the beginning, this is a coloring book that I bought because it really just makes me laugh. It's silly and it's fun, and I absolutely adore it. It's always a good thing to keep things around that keep you from taking life way too seriously. You gotta have some fun, do silly things, buy silly books. He seems like a very happy little otter, so it must have been a good toot to make him feel a little bit more relaxed. I'm a little sad it didn't give me beans to color since he's got his little back feet up. But that's all right. That is a really bright pink, but why not? Okay, it translates more reddish on paper, but that's all right. We've got a nice aqua here for the water. We're not going to go super dark with it. I just want a little bit of color down for the water since it's such a large piece of it. A lot of times I do this last. I don't feel like it. I feel like having a little fun. That and having the water lets me kind of decide what color to make the bubbles be, to kind of show that they are probably a little smelly. I am curious if anybody else is also still kind of snowed in. We didn't get all that much snow here, but the road crews are not equipped for the amount that we did get, or the ice that ended up getting laid right on top of it. So we live out in the middle of nowhere, so our roads are kind of the last to get cleared. If you have a good four-wheel drive, you can get out. It's just not necessarily recommended. So I'd rather stay home and bake in color. And I'm not fussing if there's variations in how dark this tone comes out, because I have never looked at water and it was the exact same color in every single spot. So we're not fussing. There we go. It's kind of funny. We've been cracking jokes out here because we actually moved from New York in 22 to get away from this weather. So it's kind of like it decided it missed us and wanted to come visit. Hello, Irma. Omar, how you doing today? Pardon me as I just completely trip over your name. Some days I can talk. Other days I'm apparently just tongue-tied and can't get anything to come out. Either way, it's all right. We are not fussing too hard about much of anything today. We at least got sunshine today. It might have been cold sunshine, but it was still sunshine, which makes a big difference after the past 2 days of clouds and cold and snow and sleet and all those wonderful things. I will take cold sunshine over no sunshine anytime. There we go. I'm about halfway through the background. Now, normally I would go through and add color to each individual little dot. I don't know if I'm going to do that today or not. I'm not going to do it right this minute. But if we have some extra time later on, I may come back through and kind of add a little bit more depth that way. It's one thing I like with this type of picture that's just layers of different things, is you can kind of decide how intricate you want to get with it. Hello, how we doing today? The last one of these I did actually ended up taking about an hour. So I don't really have a timeline for today. I'm not sure how much time we're going to spend with it. Welcome back. There we go. Get these little bitty oddball spots here real quick. Sometimes getting the background done is actually helpful to getting more of a vision on the whole thing. Thank you, thank you. That's one of my favorites. It's actually one of the two that I use the absolute most, which is this one in my heart cup. And honestly speaking, they are my biggest 2 cups. I drink a lot of coffee. That's what's in this. As far as brand, we're not fancy around here. It's just a regular blend from Maxwell House. I'm not one to spend crazy lot of money to have something fancy when the regular stuff is just as good and half as expensive. Well, at least in theory. Prices have been going up a bit. There we go. I think we're going to have a little fun and be a little silly with a nice bright kind of hazardous green for these little bubbles here. Now we can start filling in all of the other green things. There we go. I like how many different details there are in these pages. I actually got this one at Walmart. It cracked me up. It made me laugh, so it came home with me. This one was one of my more expensive. I want to say it was like $14 after tax. but I think it'll be worth it because I think we'll end up doing quite a few of these on here. And it really did crack me up, and it is still cracking me up because it's silly. And it's fun, and I like stuff like that. I am actually a very big fan of silly. It's a good break from the more serious pictures I tend to do, the fantasy creatures and all of that. It's fun to just do something because it makes you laugh once in a while. And if my voice goes a little bit wonky, I usually spend a decent amount of time outside. I cannot do that right now, and I am actually technically allergic to pretty much all of my pets. So, me and my allergies are having a whole discussion here the past couple of days. Oh, that little spot came out so messy. There we go. I like to kind of pick a green and then go for every single plant that matches the first thing I do in that green before moving on to the next color. Makes it nice and easy. It's definitely less confusing. And it lets you add just layers of color. Which I am definitely a fan of. I like having a lot of different shades and tones. I was going to say, that can't be the only one of those. I almost got sidetracked by this guy, but this guy is different than this guy. I have a couple of these. This is a nice, cheerful green, isn't it? What, Loki? Hello, how are we doing today? And you are not late. Technically, I am. I normally start between 3 and 3:30. Today, I started closer to 4. So, don't stress it too much. There we go. Loki thinks he should be allowed to just do nothing but play in the snow. But at the same time, one of us has to be out there with him while he plays in the snow, or he's not happy. So, we are fussy whiny the past couple of days because nobody wants to go out in 17-degree weather. Well, you have a wonderful night, and I will be back on tomorrow, and hopefully a little bit earlier at least. I know there was another one of these somewhere. I thought there was. Ah, there he is. He's hiding up in the corner. There we go. I will never be one to fuss at people because they have other things to do besides watch me color a ridiculous picture online. There we go. We're starting to get a little bit of depth going here, aren't we? Pardon me for just a second. The next green I want to use happens to need a sharpening. It was just looking a little rough. I actually kind of had this in mind for these. There we go. I have a ridiculous amount of different colors of the same type of color. Like I have a ton of blues, I have a ton of greens. And I enjoy using all of them. And a lot of times I like to see how many different ones I can use in the same picture and get away with it. And it's just fun to me. It's kind of one of those little things. Felt like these big leaves needed an interesting shade though. Let's see, do we have any more of those or is it just the 3? I think it's just those 3. Ooh, I like that one. It's a vibrant tone. Hello, how are we doing today? Is there some neat looking little emojis you got there? I definitely like this green. I will be using it quite a bit more. It's just a really rich tone. Let's get that guy done. I'm going to come up here and do this guy. And this is one of the big reasons why I like to use as many different shades as I can. So it's really easy to differentiate where one plant is versus another when you have really an overlapping picture like this. It doesn't get all muddled and muddy and hard to see what is what. It is, however, still hard to get down in the seam there. We're getting quite the collection of green pencils going over here. And I'm not done yet. Okay, that's pretty. It's more of a, almost more like an aqua. A little bit of a blue tinge to it. I am never against a hint of blue in anything. There we go. That one's actually got a stem that's colorable. I think that's the first we've had that had that. There we go. I'm going to assume this guy peeking out from down here is the same kind of plant. And I'm still going to have to find yet another shade of green to do the grass once I get done with all the different plants, which should be fun. Let's see. Somebody definitely took some time coming up with different leafy things to create for this. That is for certain. And that's one thing I've noticed with a lot of these pictures is they all have a whole lot going on. So they're just nice in-depth pictures. Which really comes in handy for somebody like me that I hate when it hits like 20 minutes and I'm done with the picture. The absolute minimum I try to do any of my lives is 30 minutes. And I'd prefer to go longer when I can. Because it gives people kind of a chance to pop in and out and gives people a chance to see that I am, in fact, currently doing a live. It always takes a little bit of time for the algorithm to tell people you're there. So. I'm debating, do I want to do this for these little guys or the big guy? Because I think he's the only one like that. So I think we're going to go to the little guys. It's another one with a little hint of blue to it. Different tone though, so I'm happy. There we go. Let's get this guy done. And we got another one up here. There we go. Sometimes I swear that phrase is out of my mouth before I even realize it. I would love to know how many times in any given day I end up actually using it. It's not an intentional thing, it just kind of slips out a lot. But I guess there's a lot of worse things I could be saying besides there we go. Not a phrase that'll get my channel. That's a good thing, right? I really did think seriously about doing lives the past couple of days while I was dealing with the storms, but honestly, I really just ended up taking the time and spending it with the household. I think we're almost there. So I've decided these are rocks. So all I have left is this guy, and then the grass and the greens. I just realized what I forgot. Sorry about that if that buzzed through to you guys, but I am now on Do Not Disturb because I kind of forgot to do that. At least this time I didn't get kicked off my live because somebody called me. That has happened in the past when I forgot to do that. It happens. I don't stress it too much. Very, very few people actually call me just to visit. I'm more of a hey, text me person. So generally, if somebody is calling me, they need my attention. So I don't get too upset by it. That'll work. Why I decided to start in like the hardest spot to do, I don't know. But we're going to go with it. Might as well get the hard part out of the way first, right? And I am going to come in and color those as flowers, so I'm not too worried about a really light green getting over top of them. I really did choose like the most tricky spot to do, didn't I? Get this part done, and then we can come back and do our rocks and our flowers, and then we'll be all done. Now, one good thing with adding green behind other greens is you really don't have to worry about coloring over green all that much. It does help if your pencil doesn't decide to just completely block all of the color, though. Let's fix that. There we go. Very color through a piece of wood. Does not work. All right, let's switch over to the other bank. This is one of the few times where I'm actually going to end up coloring every single space on this page. I only do that if it makes sense to the picture. There we go. Now, grab a nice pretty gray. Come in and do some of the rocks in that tone. We'll do some in a different shade. There we go. We'll do some in kind of a tan. And now we have the rocks done. Now we can add a bit of oomph to this and start giving the flowers some color. We are going to start with this guy down here. And we're going to give him a nice, pretty purple. And I think we'll probably do this one the same color. Thought a nice pop of purple would just show up really well. This is going to be one of the few that I don't think I'm going to do any proper blue. Just because we have the light blue here and then a handful of different blue-greens. So I feel like that might be overkill. But who doesn't love a good pink? Let's see if I can find one that really catches my attention though. Go with the original pick. And this is a darker pink, but I feel like this needs to be a dark color. And one of my birds has decided that pink is apparently fun to mimic, so we're just going to hear pink for the rest of the day probably. She's a funny little one. She does that, hates the microwave, and sometimes words that we say she'll pick up and just decide to run with them. Did I really just finish this in that couple of little moves? I think I did. So I am going to go ahead and stop. I'm actually really satisfied with the way this guy looks. I think he came out really stinking cute. And I think if I keep messing with it, it's just going to be overkill at this point. So I am going to go ahead and stop there. I'll be back on hopefully a little earlier tomorrow. And I will talk to you guys next time.